Hey everyone, my name is Alexandra and I'm a watercolor artist. Today I'm going to teach you guys how to paint a baby blue eucalyptus branch. For anyone that does a lot of botanical paintings, you guys already know that eucalyptus is such a nice addition to your paintings. It's a staple that I use in my florals, especially if I'm painting things like wedding bouquets specifically. I find that it is a very popular leaf to use in them. So I'm going to teach you guys a really easy way to paint this that won't take very long. Let's get started. For supplies today, you guys will need 2 cups of water. I have 1 for clean, 1 for dirty water, a napkin for drying your paintbrush. Paintbrushes, I'm using Princeton rounds numbers 2 and 6. For paper, I have 140-pound cold press watercolor paper. And lastly, for my palette, I'm using Philosophy and Co's Terrain palette. The main colors you guys will need though is some type of brown, green, and a little bit of blue. So I have one of my dried eucalyptus branches here that we can just use as reference. It is dried, so the color does change a little bit, but we can sort of use it as reference for the main concept of what we're looking for when we are painting eucalyptus branches. So what you guys will notice is it varies depending on what angle you're looking at it from, but the leaves are sticking straight out and they're very layered. So we want to make sure that we're really keeping that when we're painting our actual painting. And they start from small and get bigger as you work your way down. So those are the main things that we're looking for. We're gonna start by painting our branch that's coming down. And I'm just gonna mix a brown, I'm gonna add a little bit more yellow to the one that I have here. Mine's looking a lot more brown just because it is dried. When they are alive still, the color is a little bit different, but that's okay. We're gonna sort of mix a lighter brown. You can even add a tinge of green into it. And we're just gonna paint a skinny line going all the way down our paper. For our first layer, I'm just keeping it nice and light. I can add more detail after if I want. So now I'm gonna go in with my number 6 paintbrush. And the first thing that I can see is these top 2 leaves. You guys are looking directly down at this. I'm gonna paint it almost as if it's at a tiny bit of an angle so the leaves are sticking out a bit more and less of a straight line. So mixing on my paint palette, I want to mix my balsam green. And with eucalyptus, it's much more blue undertoned than green. So we're actually gonna mix it with some blue. I'm mixing it with my blue shadow here. And I'm making it nice and watery. I can test it on my napkin just to make sure it comes out to a color that I like. So what I say when people are painting these is to err on the side of it being a lot more blue than you think, and it'll come out looking much more natural. So I'll test it again. I'm liking where the color is a lot more now. Make it nice and watery. And then we're just gonna jump right in and paint our top leaves. Just gotta slide that over a bit. So using my number 6 brush, I'm gonna start, I can see that the leaves come to a tiny bit of a point. So I'm painting my leaves, coming to a point towards the top here. I'm doing 2 of them. I'm putting the tip of my paintbrush down and sort of making these teardrop shapes. Now I'm gonna work my way down with this exact same concept of just layering leaves that are sort of angled horizontally. So they're not, often when I paint leaves, I do them more heading down towards the stem, but these ones I want to think that they're more sideways. And we're just going to work our way down. But as you can see, when you're looking at the branch from above, you can see that some leaves are directly in front, some are to the side. So we want to imitate that with our actual paintings. So when we go bigger and towards the bottom, we can do some overlapping directly over where our stem is. Just sort of keeping that same concept for shape and for angle where they are more horizontal. So you guys will be able to see as you're painting, this is a super simple painting that can be done really quickly, but it will help you guys, especially if you are painting a lot of botanicals and leaves. So we're just gonna keep working our way down. And you guys might notice that my example here is a little bit more olivey green. My painting's a little bit more blue, but it sort of just varies depending on whether they're dried, alive, or the specific type that you have. I'm just working my way all the way down. I can make some of them look a little bit bigger, almost as if they're facing forward more. I'm just gonna smooth the edges of that one. Some more on the side. Do one sort of staggered below. And I'm just painting these kind of horizontal ovals all the way to the bottom. I'll make them a little bit smaller for my last two there. They can be a tiny bit bigger up above. Now, if I want, while some of them are wet still, I can actually go in and use a little bit of a wet on wet technique and just add in some variation in color. For these ones up here that are dry already, I'll add it in and then I'll actually just go back in and mix it after. So I'm just adding the spots of color. You can see more where I did it on these ones that are still damp. I'm letting it bleed in. For the ones where it didn't, I'm just gonna wet my paintbrush, dry a little bit, and just blend it into my leaf. I like to do this because it gives it more variation and it makes it look definitely more natural as well. All right, so now that I've done that, you guys are more than welcome to leave your painting here exactly as is. I'm gonna let my leaves dry and add a little bit more detail to the stem, a little more detail to the leaves, and then we will be all done. So going into the stem, really all I wanna do is make it stand out more. So I'm going back into my brown paint here. And I'm just gonna go over top of where I've already painted. I can even add sort of just like a little part to the top where it looks like another leaf might come out. And I'm just going over portions of my stem, making sure that the leaves that are lapping in front, I want the stem to continue only behind them. So you can see right here where it's overlapping, I'm stopping where I'm painting my stem and starting again once I'm past that leaf. And I'm not painting the same brown directly over top of all of it, just over portions to give it a little bit more variation to it. And that adds a bit more contrast so that the leaves are standing out more. Now with the leaves, I'm not gonna do a ton with them, but I do want to make them stand out some more. So we're going in with the same color that we used to paint them. Using my small brush, I'm going just to the center for the ones that I see can attach to the stem. And I'm just doing little brush strokes to make it look like it is attaching to the center. So it's actually just adding a tiny bit of shadow right at the center of your leaf. I'm using almost the same tone that I used to paint my original leaf, with the idea that by using this monochromatic glazing technique, it's going to make it stand out so much more. So it's a really subtle detail that is just going to bring them to life that much more. And I often use these as very much of a filler leaf. So they're something that I like to paint subtle and not necessarily have as the most prominent leaf on my paintings. All right, and there you guys have a tutorial of a nice, quick, easy baby blue eucalyptus. I hope that you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you followed along, please do take a picture of it and share it with me on Instagram at Alexandra Victoria Studio. I absolutely love to see what you guys are painting. If there's a particular leaf or plant that you want to see next time, then leave a comment below and let me know. Otherwise, if you haven't already, make sure to like this video and subscribe to this channel. It really helps me as I'm making videos going forward. We'll see you next time.